so that people that we know see it, then go, oh, see, the president, the lawyer, then a paper they pass, who they go now app, who they make, just pass me the paper. Thank you very much, Madam President. Updates on the tribunal reports on the suspended Auditor General and Deputy Auditor General, Mrs. Lara and Mr. Tamba Momo, respectively. State House, date Tuesday, 9 July 2024. On Wednesday, 12 June 2024, His Excellency President Dr. Julius Madabio received the reports from the chairperson of the tribunal that was set up to investigate the suspended Auditor General and Deputy Auditor General, respectively. Following the perusal of the reports, the general public is hereby informed that His Excellency the President has accepted all the recommendations of the report, among which is the removal of the suspended Auditor General and Deputy Auditor General. Accordingly, having satisfied Section 1377A of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, 1991, the President has directed the following: that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice initiates the necessary procedure for the removal of the suspended Auditor General, Mrs. Lara Tilopias, pursuant to Section 1377B of the Constitution of Sierra Leone 1991, that the Audit Service Board pursues action for the removal of the suspended Deputy Auditor General, Mr. Tamba Momo. End. For the family and also, they follow the English, who they can talk. The press secretary just say the president don't agree with the reports. And he say, and the reports and recommendations say, then for pull the Auditor General, according to what the Constitution say, and for table land in a parliament, and that the audit service in board for pull deputy, because by the law, the Auditor General in a parliament, the deputy in the board. The president don't agree. Mr. Kano, the obvious question are that people want to know, what's in the inside the report? Why will not immediately publish the full of the reports? But I want to let you talk about the process of all of this. What's happen, how we now follow the law step by step, because we are the legal advisors of His Excellency and we in our government, and what's people for expect next. I want to let people pay close attention. This is a very distinguished lawyer. They can tell me the facts. Go on, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, and thank you very much, everybody. I'm grateful for being given this opportunity to be here for the first time, and especially for can deliberate on a very topical issue. But we do not leave. I go ask now for just give just a brief context with regards to what actually transpired with the Lara PS Tribunal, so that at the end of the day, everybody will leave here with an understanding on having a background of the processes. So we do not leave. I just could just read a brief background, and now we can now engage into the position now where the minister don't read. Yeah. So the Auditor General and Deputy Auditor General of the Audit Service Sierra Leone were both suspended from office in November 2021 for stated misconduct or lack of professional performance.
Yeah, make some for we make an English. This press conference, I really insisting a Creole for talk.
All right.
So I'm not saying you get a script, but mix it up a little bit.
All right. Yeah. So, as I say, the Auditor General and in Deputy in November 2021, they suspend them for stated misconduct. What is stated misconduct? The Constitution make provision for certain behaviors then where now you employers, then in this case, the president, where as a professional, where you actually not live up to, then can actually cite you for that behavior as a stated misconduct. But given the position of the Auditor General in the protection where the Constitution accord to the Auditor General, if you go under Section 119 of the Constitution, you cannot now discipline or remove the Auditor General without invoking Section 137 of the Constitution. Now, some people might ask, why do you need to invoke Section 137 of the Constitution, given the fact that the Auditor General is just a public officer, not a judge? But my conclusion with that will only be the kind of the independence where the Constitution won't give to the Auditor General. Because obviously removing a judge is not as easy when you actually look at the tribunal where 137, they actually say set up for let you remove them. So that's kind of the protection that has been given to the Auditor General. So when the Auditor General then suspend him here in deputy, obviously a tribunal was set up for let them actually now investigate on the alleged misconduct here, where then they allege say them then do, so that the tribunal now go investigate them. Then the tribunal where they actually then set up for let them investigate them by His Excellency the President, on the provision they were already mentioned, 119 and 137. The members then were actually comprised of this tribunal was headed by a chairperson, a former Supreme Court judge, Justice Nyawo Jones, and a High Court judge, Justice Ivan Sise, and a lawyer, Ellen Farmer, who is a lawyer of more than 20 years standing. They are the ones that actually comprise the tribunal. Obviously, the mandate, the authority where the Megidis Tribunal was for let them consider the allegations we are already stated, the misconduct and or lack of professional performance of the Auditor General and in Deputy Tamba Momo. Also, they may get a mandate for investigate the audit service with particular reference to the performance or lack thereof of the Auditor General and Tamba Momo and other related matter. Obviously, the tribunal then gets their own guidelines once the tribunal comments as to how we get for proceed, where they require both lawyers for the state and lawyers for Lara affairs for actually follow those guidelines. But another interesting thing, I know say a lot of people they actually talk about why the tribunal takes so long in actually proceeding. Waiting maybe the general public might not be aware, during this process, there were preliminary objections that was being filed by solicitors from representing the Auditor General and the Deputy Auditor General. So obviously as a state, lawyers representing the Attorney General, we had to respond to those preliminary objections. And obviously there was also an application filed in the Supreme Court, which again, there have been questions that maybe the state, the Attorney General did not respond to that application, which again, it's a misinformation, because in response to that application, what the Attorney General office lawyers did was to file a preliminary objection to that application. So as a result, we did not file a statement to that or defense to that application because we have an objection which we have filed. And as lawyers will tell you, given the fact that we are challenging jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, if those matters were to be had, if they get for a then case then they, now we own case then go for a force. So until they we own case, obviously they cannot now listen to the case where the lawyers then for Lara Tilopias then file challenging again the jurisdiction of the tribunal. So obviously the tribunal then proceed with we lawyers representing the Attorney General presenting we case, and obviously then gets opportunity as well for cross-examine the witnesses. Then we will bring come, and at the end of the day then present the own witnesses before we actually now concluding the case. At the end of the process, obviously the tribunal then adjourned for ruling, which again, during that process, there is a lot of hue and cry. We then say the time takes so long for the tribunal arrive at a decision. In other words, why is he beyond the 3 months given to judgment for the court system? But again, that is unfortunately I want no disrespect to the people who are making this comment. They were now equating the tribunal with a court. It's not a court. When a tribunal makes a judgment has the force of a high court judgment. But the tribunal, in actually reaching their decision, sometimes takes longer because it's an inquiry process. Sometimes even after where the lawyers then don't finish their own submissions, the members of the tribunal are at liberty for ask more questions, probing questions, because it's like an inquisitorial system. In other words, the tribunal then get power for ask questions. Inquisitorial say the tribunal, and then they ask questions. What we have in Sierra Leone is an adversarial system where lawyers argue, and obviously the judge will rule. I mean, the judge is just there to maintain the balance. But a tribunal is more of an inquiry process, so it takes a lot longer. So the 3 months that they were referring to, it's unfortunate. It's a lack of understanding of what's the position of a tribunal. So at the end of the day, we all learn, because at the end of the day, we don't have a monopoly of knowledge. So, but when these issues come up, I think this gives us an opportunity so that we can address that. If in the future, maybe a tribunal is taking the time to reach a decision, we know why, because it's not a simple process. So finally, the tribunal may arrive at a decision where now recommendations were made with regards to the position of the Auditor General and the Deputy Auditor General. But the recommendation was made, for the Auditor General to be removed from office, and that recommendation was submitted to His Excellency the President, and obviously for the Deputy Director General, Auditor General, for reference to be made to the board of the Audit Service Sierra Leone, because they are the body, now then get power for actually remove the Deputy Auditor General. Whilst, like I said earlier on, the Section 137 now bring the Auditor General under the judges, then removal. So only Parliament, in actual fact, it's only Parliament can decide on her removal. It's not the President. What the tribunal is actually doing, it's an advisory tribunal based on looking at what has been presented before the tribunal, the argument. Obviously, the lawyers for the states, the Attorney General, has made a case that indeed there is a breach for them to now arrive at that recommendation for the Auditor General to be removed. But it doesn't made. The President is at liberty again to look at those recommendations and now decide what's the next step. And that next step, I believe, is the press release that the minister, they actually mentioned today, in terms of now the President accept the recommendation. The next step is for Parliament under Section 137 B for Parliament now to sit down, follow them, sit down and let them deliberate on the report and take a decision. So I will stop there for now. Hand over to the Minister.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kanu. I take the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of somebody we don't need an introduction, the Honorable Alhaji, another Alhaji, in a actual Alhaji, actually. Some of them I will call Alhaji. Alhaji Dr. Alpha Khan, the presidential spokesperson and former Minister of Information as well, and former Minister of Mines, and former, last stop, no so, plenty. All right, so they can listen to the Alaji on this issue, but I get a quick follow-up question for Mr. Kano, and then we can to Madam President. Mr. Kano, just for avoidance of doubt, what's have been the allegations against the Auditor General? What's the Tribunal fen say they agree with or them fen are guilty of? Lord, just state and they.
I'm a bit guided because guided in the sense that I don't want really for going to the report because it's a question that will allow me to go into the report. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, the reports will be out to the public at some point. Now, like I've been tell you earlier.
No, just not within just like waiting give cause to the tribunal. So I just want to remind people that waiting give cause. So
one of the main issue we give cause, we allege say there has been a breach of confidentiality by the Auditor General in terms of where auditors then call third-party confirmation and all other issues, where as a professional, there are certain things that you should not do.
Okay.
So that's one of the main things that trigger the investigation. And confidentiality, as we know, it spans in every aspect of our life. So as a professional, like more so an auditor, when you breach confidentiality, it's a serious breach.
Okay. Just in terms of steps, with the announcement from the press secretary, today we don't make public, because first will not be not make public the outcome. The president don't agree. The tribunal will include very distinguished Sierra Leoneans, them, a former Supreme Court justice, as you say, a former High Court judge, also a High Court judge, and a very distinguished lawyer. So these are people we also very, very high standing in our society. Then conclusion, now that's enough grounds for recommend the removal of both the Auditor General and deputy. His Excellency President Bill don't study the reports and all the findings. He don't accept the recommendations. What's in at the next step?
Okay, the next step is simple. Maybe as a lawyer with your leave again.
Yes.
I go borrow me colleague and me president in Constitution. I go just read 137 B for now, because I think it's the A that was mentioned in the
Lawyer, the left constitution.
Okay. Okay. I will just read 1377 again. It's a judge of the Superior Court of Judicature shall be removed from office by the President. A, if the question of his removal from office has been referred to a tribunal appointed under subsection 5, and the tribunal has recommended to the President that he ought to be removed from office. And B, if his removal has been approved by 2/3 majority in Parliament. So if you look at the press release this morning, 137A has been complied with. The tribunal has been set up. The tribunal don't report, don't recommend a removal. So the next step is for the B part to be complied with, and that is going to Parliament.
Do we expect that? Is there a timeline for that? I just ask one thing, I know the one can ask. So I'll just move the process forward.
Well, I cannot sit here and say timeline there, because the section actually provide timeline, but I believe say in the interest of justice, I believe say they need for do that as soon as possible.
Wouldn't we need for do that?
The Attorney General Office.
Again, now make with this man tell me say no they can't today monami really. Because as I know, I try to be fair. The job we do here now for provide information to the people of Salon. And that's important. So we know they sugarcoat anything with the whole, even government officials, yeah, and ask them straight questions, and he answers straight. So the AG office, the president don't instruct, the AG office and the president in lawyer. Say, let's take them forward now. And the AG office, I actually spoke to the AG last night on this issue. They plan soonest for now table these reports to Parliament, and then Parliament now gets an obligation for looking to them and debate and take a vote on the conclusion.
But also, if I may add, also don't forget, giving timelines, obviously Parliament then get their own timeline.
Correct. No, yeah, so just on we own side from the executive, we go to Parliament, and then Parliament now, of course, following the new schedule, then go forward. Okay, Mr. Khan, I think we don't get here. Lord, give you a breather. Lord, come to Her Excellency. First of all, I want to take the opportunity for publicly congratulate you on your election as President of the Lara Association, and also on your successful tenure as the very distinguished chair of the board of the National Revenue Authority. I think every Sierra Leonean we don't pay attention, no say you performed with distinction and excellence, and the country grateful for your service and for all the work you do there, for the work we will not say they continue for you. So first, let's start with from you, your new position as Sierra Leone Bar Association President. Share with the people of Salone briefly with your vision, why you believe, say, you colleague them, give you this singular honor for being them president, and what you hope for achieve. Let's just talk down there for a few minutes, and then I want to get your comment on these reports and the process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Thank you very much for that. And thank you very much to you and your team for inviting me also today, for giving me this honor for can sit on this platform and talk to the people of Salone. And I want to say thank you to your ministry for when you start something like this, for make you they inform the people of Salone within the government and other people them that this country here they do. Because it could let the people of Salone be informed of what they go on in that country. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best and your team now in our office. So I want to first of all say thank you to my colleagues then who voted me in as president of the Sierra Leone Bar Association. It wasn't an easy journey, but I came out successful. Now, I strongly believe say I win on waiting we campaign on than a million team when our team raised the bar, which we campaign on standards, empowerment, and welfare. Beaucoup people then at Salone go agree with me, say some of them they complain about certain standards of the lawyers them. We need for look into them. Even though me not just president of the Bar Association, me not to I could say the General Legal Council, even though me not member, but now the General Legal Council get the mandates for listening to disciplinary actions against lawyers and so. But we they help for make sure say we push go before the standards and make sure say we try for empower with lawyers them. The world don't go before. For example, you can talk about technology law, you can talk about, we talking about AI and all that thing in there. We really get lawyers then we specialize in this. Not to say they don't want to do them, but it will need further studies, then we need other things them. So we the kind for see how we could help that, especially when it comes to scholarships and internships. So, and of course, as we don't say, we look for them welfare. So we vigorously campaign on that, and we win on that note. But one of the main, I could say, flagship program is, then say Sierra Leone Bar Association are the oldest bar association in sub-Saharan Africa. And it's really a shame that we not get a secretariat where we go say now we own. We don't rent, stay. And we want to tell the Attorney General, thank you, we give a space na the special court complex. Also, we don't get a small office where we know the pay rent, but it makes sure say we get them. The Attorney General, by the way, now the titular head of the bar. So it makes sure say we get this. And now the current Attorney General, when I'm Mr. Mohamed Lamin Tarawali, we want tell and thank you. But we self want go further than that. All man they go. Where we go now, just 2 hours flight from here to Ghana. You they see them get their own building, then get their own secretariat. Where you reach there, you know one commodity. We know opposite, we say they can't find, we begin invite them now, private chambers them. It go find where you say you they can't find, we as the Bar Association, we actually care you go now with secretariat. We actually, they're about for hit the ground running. What do they do? We acquire a land, and after that, we begin build. Not to say the association get money, but we they do fundraising. And where somebody like Tuma, Adam Agento, Camara, Tinap for fundraise, my man self they contribute, because then say charity begins at home. So the stone then, the cement then, and everything, would they make sure say Mohammed Gento, Camara, Giam. Because now responsibility that for supporting wealth.
Public commitments. Now I don't commit you so gentle.
And where it starts, anybody in Dumont where me executive knock on, then they come on board for Dudande. And the other thing again, where we realize is that private practitioners, lawyers, them, some people don't know say they know they get pension. So what we decide for do is for we actually able for collaborate with the leadership of NASIT for law initiate what they call a private pension scheme for lawyers who side then go they pay into this scheme, and in their old age then go get a befitting old age. We can see some lawyers that don't do so well. I know say majority of them I don't see lawyers them in their old age. They're not able to look after themselves anymore. Because as lawyers, we know they retire. Not only where the body don't tire, now you go sit down at us. And sometimes where you don't tire, that money no they can't in, it will affect your health. So now that's with the hit the ground running, and I go make sure say even if we not complete the building, but we go very close.
How long now you tenure, man?
2 years.
Okay, so you get a 2-year tenure. Inside that 2-year day, whoever they bring you kaya often for checking and make sure say the promises the way you don't make. That's not just to the lawyers them, but when you want to raise the bar and improve the quality of the legal service in this country and the legal profession, now the people of Salon they benefit. So that work you do as well, a very important public work. Let's focus now on the Lara Tribunal and the steps and so far. As the Salon Bar Association, when I don't observe this process, I want you just comment on which one they observe so far, which one they look at, and if an opportunity as well for do some civic education on the steps and so people don't understand for complement with him is I cannot say.
Yes, I'm glad you say me PR they are so today, and one person where they always make sure say since he take office for make sure say they talk on behalf of the Bar Association and lend a voice and tell people them like how you they say the civic education for educate them on them. Now I don't keenly listen to the DPP. They don't talk about the steps where government take and the tribunal where then set. And of course, the one where don't always be where people they don't talk about it topical, it was about the Supreme Court application. Then file application, they talk say we get problem with the people them. That's not the lawyers for Madam Lara Telopias. Say the people the way they appoint for Sidona this tribunal here so. It's good the DPP they are today don't educate we for tell we say no. We then do that one day, then raise a preliminary objection for talk say no. Now we first don't file we own case. Let us answer to we case. We wanna go before the tribunal, cross-examination they take place, all things they take place. Una all get the opportunity and right for make una be heard. So the way we done with that day, whichever step again, maybe una go and take, una can continue with them. Some they argue say the Supreme Court now take precedent over the tribunal. But the constitution will they follow, section 137 from subsection 4 to subsection 7 clearly states how you get for go about with a tribunal where it come to the Auditor General. Because if you read that section, you go see no more outside in the talk all over about a court, a judge. But section 1199 tell we say The same way how you dey remove judge, na the same way you dey remove an auditor general. The only thing when me take notes is that this section they talk about the auditor general, and not they talk but in deputy. I understand say the tribunal do waiting and do, and then do the inquiry with regards both the auditor general and in deputy. Now that make, if we look at the press release we come out today from the office of the press secretary, it talks say, yes, 137A has been complied with. So waiting at the way forward now. With the auditor general, then they use 137B. But the presidents go further for give directive say, let we now take the deputy auditor general to the board. We all know Tribes law where it can to employment. He who hires fires. Simply mean the deputy na the board na in the hire. So meaning if anything therefore do with in removal, na the board the removal. I no go one talk say the board in hands tied, but the only difference here is the board cannot investigate anymore because the tribunal don't investigate on his behalf. And this same constitution, yeah, they tell we say that tribunal only applicable to the auditor general. So I just want that we take note of that because as an association, we are the legal conscience of the nation. And among anything what would they do, we call mandates now for safeguard the human rights. This thing take close to about 2.5 years. Is it that if the board, I know they say if I don't be so, but is it that if the board for don't investigate the deputy, if this investigation for don't happen and done and in your verdict given by the board, and if they remove and then find out one thing, they remove out, they not find out one thing and left them. Again, we go left down there to the tribunal and to the lawyers, then maybe they represent the deputy auditor general. Because I believe that could have been a preliminary objection or something they could have raised to say the deputy subjected to this tribunal by law, and they left them open. But as a lawyer and as the president of the Bar Association, I get concerned with that. Now, moving forward, we don't hear it from the DPP. They tell we say the only way, even though the recommendation now for based on the press release, I want to make it clear say, I not see the report yet, I not read that yet, and they go purely by the press release where the office of the press secretary released today. So let's say the recommendation according to waiting and say, now for remove both the Auditor General and in deputy. One has been sent to Parliament and the process to be initiated or guided by the Attorney General. And the second one now by the board, waiting for the deputy. So we go just say no more. All the stakeholders that we concern, the Attorney General, Parliament, for do ya, let them hasty up. Me na woman, and I just want to take the gender cap and say, the Auditor General na woman. It's been a long journey for her. We in need for know as to whether Parliament go agree for removal, meaning it said 2/3. 2/3 not to be picking percentage na Parliament. So whether they go remove them or whether they not go remove them based on the voting. So me they beg the Attorney General office for say do ya, the best way then say where you can go matter na court. They say justice delayed is justice denied. Time we don't already go, 2.5 years or so. Do ya make them go and make sure say the Attorney General do what they do as quickly as possible. They be don't affair of this case. They know everything where they happen. Now the outcome no more, they not be no, but they don't know the outcome now. If they can speedily send this na Parliament before Parliament they recess, let them look into this. Let them give that woman the in results as to whether they go pull them or they not go pull them. And secondly, send the deputy in to the board. Make them make sure say them follow waiting the law say, and make them make sure say then uphold the law. Because now that's we dey for, and we dey monitor and we dey watch. After 1 week, if we see say we no hearing nothing, me PR will go cancel now. We dey make sure say we this could be done as speedily as possible.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We appreciate the Salomba Association and perspective on this issue.
Mr. Minister, if I may just come in briefly.
You want to come in briefly?
Briefly.
Okay, very briefly, because I want to cancel the allergy.
The President raised waiting the Deputy Auditor General be actually they do before the tribunal. The reason why the Deputy Auditor General was before the tribunal, because he had acted as an Auditor General.
So the inquiry now been based on in activities as an acting
general. So
Auditor General.
During those times when he acted as Auditor General, we needed to investigate him. So that's why it was before the tribunal. That's the reason why even when the tribunal reached a conclusion, they still cannot send him to Parliament like the Auditor General, but they now send him to the board.
Okay. So I think we will leave at that. The media will get an opportunity just now for asking questions. Excuse me. But just to make clear again, we make get in conversation two of the top brains in this country when it comes to legal issues. Then Sidoya explain, get a debate, and provide civic education, public information and rights. That citizens get rights to this information and make we bring the wire come. And as you see, the Bar Association, they make an appeal, they advocate as well, they talk about the law, and we hear as well the response from governments. That not the kind of government we President Bill want follow build an open government we they get in conversation here. Now they turn small bits to politics because we get the president and spokesman. I think last night, Dr. Samora Wilson Kamara pulled a statement and do a video, say address the nation. Since the tripartite reports come on, we don't go out of the way now for praise them as lead negotiator alongside the chief minister. The report, by the way, is clear. 3 sides then come together, the recommendations and clear. 80 recommendations. If you don't see it, follow Minister of Information and Platforms. We don't do a simplified versions of all 80 of them. In the Dr. Samora Kamara attend the ceremony after I don't read the report. They hand over to His Excellency, the Fountain of Honor, duly elected President of this country, President Julius Maada Bio. When I set up, in his speech, he referred to President Julius Maada Bio multiple times as His Excellency, the President, and all that. Very clear process. Inside the report, even areas where they don't agree in the report, because when at 3 sides, something they do not agree together, then separate that side, then call them divergent views. After then states the divergent views, both sides then prepare their own divergent recommendations, separate. APC prepare their own, SLPP prepare, Government of Salome prepare our own. We agree for put all the recommendations, the divergent ones, under inside the report. So it's separate from the 81. Because the point of the tripartite is that the thing they will agree on. Wide ranging recommendations. Even among the APC recommendations, the thing the way Dr. Samuel Kamara said yesterday for insights and try for cause further chaos and instability in this country, they're not there. So we separate the words of Dr. Kamara, we issue, way after the process done from the works of the good men and women of the APC. Because the APC as a party then puts them heart and soul into that process, and the outcome of the process is clear, submit that report today. I think, Alpha Khan, I think you there for also help for throw light from the perspective of the government and give you some context and other good news, of course. So I know say a man who give you the mic, I can struggle for take a back now you and small. So, but I want to give 8 minutes. So that at 3 o'clock, I go open up for question and answer. I want to hold you to that, sir. Okay, go on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Mr. Shefagrisi, you're a very effective minister. The kind of replacement, the kind of person where they succeed you, where you they go, you they glad to say, I look behind, I've been doing good work. Congratulations. Good afternoon, me people them. I get lawyer than I are today. So myself today I shouldn't say I learned the Latin. Today, hodie, apporto vobis, nuntium bonum, habemus pactum. Today, I gladly for tell una say, I bring you good news. And what is that good news? We have an agreement. And that agreement is the recommendations that came out of the tripartite, where the two parties, where now been contending parties, don't present to His Excellency the President in the presence of international arbitrators and overseers, oversight, for say, yes, now this we agree. And for us as a country, we've been glad. And we see the kind of dividend we follow that single action in the month of June. The noise we don't meet the international community no more say. Sierra Leone, the country where we all do agree say at the top most peaceful country in West Africa. Now the third most peaceful country in Africa. Now the 37th out of 193 countries in the world most peaceful. Then don't agree for continue that path of peace. Both the opposition, APC, and the SLPP don't agree for say it is better to Georgia than to war. I.e., we're not going to fight again for anything. First of all, the president will we get, you know, like fight. Can you imagine that? You get soldier, we know, like fight. That is a soldier. The man committed himself to be a soldier. And a soldier's job is what? To fight. But this is the one soldier we know, like fight. He's proven that for us. While he was a soldier, the need be arise for going to the trenches, for go fight for we. While people then like we at the time, we don't hide, we don't go overseas, we run. A lot of us, now APC, SLP, we don't run, don't go. Indian at the trenches, they fight for the country, for the soul of the country. But when you see, say, the people they went and they fight with, now the same Salon people them, we are the same mama born them, are the same family them born them. Now I say, this no makes sense. At the time, he had been second man. But as soon as he became the final decider of that regime at the time, he said, this was if done. And how you go done war? He go out against all odds. He go look for the protagonist. The man we called this rebel will say, I'll bring you camp, Lord can talk. And he did bring him. At great danger to his own life. Not selfish. I tell the people like, oh, they hide in Europe. I've been there. Hey, don't let person kill me. And as I be other one and say, they have been there out. We can meet up at the street, or they meet up in Seven Sisters Road. They meet in Ferry Lane. They say, oh man, how is it? We're in a Freetown. Say, pardon, they panam. That time they president be there. They fight for we. So that we can come back to a country we call our own. That time they win a refugee. Would I get any amount would I pay man like it? No. He says there's no sacrifice greater than a man can give than to give his life for others to live. That man did it for us. Get a lot of colleagues, then die. So if you get opportunity now, democratically, we don't elect him, let him be president, that man they go and left it in this country, no. That is why I always call and say, this power is very ungladiatorial. Gladiator own effect, not to the finish. Where he be doing it spear you, they die, he kill you. But when in effect in person, where he be doing, they give you hand back, he lift you up. And they did that. They fought in 2018. He win election. But in the first statement we make after swearing in, on the 4th of April, about 10:30, 11 o'clock, he said, I send a hand to my brothers on the other side. I send a hand to Dr. Samura Kamara. I said, I can't work for Sierra Leone. And he meant it. Me, I test him. When I say send a hand, you know what I did? That 10 day they just doing it. I take the phone. I've been there put local. I then they will all be the shiver like mice. See they can't hold me. Just come on up. I took the phone. Now I call him. Now I say, Pa, I say, Alpha Khan. I say, how are you? I say, Pa, congratulations. I say, thanks. He said, well, look, this country now we own. I say, where me are there? I did put local. I said, I did put local, Pa. If you need me, I there. So, in order to tell the next day, Naim, we see a video. I'm sure a lot of you saw that video. The very first video we don't ever see former President Anes Baikoroma make. He make a video, they send it on social media. They talk directly to the new president. He said, Mr. President, he said, I say, they prepare warrants of arrest for me minister them, my ambassadors, and all the people that have been there with me. Oh, I think they will begin afraid. But me remember say, I don't talk to that man yesterday night. Some of our colleagues, them begin run. As I be some way dressed like woman, then go attack. Then pass Nakasiri, they end up in Guinea. So with that statement, all my afraid, they can't hold me. Again, until I don't talk to that man yesterday. Now I take the phone. I call him back. I say, Pastor, I just don't see video. They say, they prepare a warrant of arrest for we. Now I say, who told you that? Now I say, former president. He said, well, this man himself. He said, I just come out to run my house. If you been get anything I had, you go tell me why go on the video. He said, I not say so. Now I begin call the one, I get a number. I say, but I not go. I say, that talk not true. I say, when I sit down. And that is why I stayed here throughout the President Bio in where I not ever go out.
You don't think you clock, sir?
No, not true. But now every day they can hire. Now every day they can hire. When I say spokesman, not to follow talk. But yeah, give me 10 minutes, but I mean, are you brother? All right, five.
Would they give you 5 more minutes?
All right, 5. Okay, now come back to the tripartite now.
Yes, sir.
The tripartite now a continuation of President Bio in own upbringing. Look for peace all the time. When he don't win, 2023, when he go read in speech in the parliament, and I say in that section 63, 64, 65, in his speech, he say, I set up a cross-party tripartite, no, it don't been called a tripartite, cross-party committee for lead and look into these problems where we people and the talk say there are problems with our laws. He said, because myself don't face the same issue in 2012. I feel say there are problems with the laws. He says the law look into them. He said, I'll call the APC, I'll call other parties, I'll call CSOs, I'll call international community. So now he set up. So when he set this up, now in good faith. But man go sharp enough where they can cut in throats. No, he did not do that. He did that for the good of the country, for let peace continue. Because a man will believe in peace. So we don't do that. And the tripartite is very simple. Say to look into the laws and the regulations of elections in Sierra Leone so that what is happening will not happen again. There is nothing there to audit results of elections. Nothing. Nothing. So, but when we people say they want for audit results, it was easy. You have them. We all know some of you don't be polling agents before. No polling agent, no they know the GRRF form in every polling station. They all get. So which means by the time election they done 1 hour later where they don't count, every party know in standing. Because me I've been tally agent for APC at that time. I want to see me try now. I was doing the tallying center at that time. So I'll be able to compile and know who's we lost, who's we win. So all this theory they ask they want RRF forms. For me, I thought it was mischief. Mischievous because they have it. However, now so when you beat Pekin or when you lost game, you always say the referee don't rogue you. But if the referee rogue you, where do you go? You go to the match commissioner. Not so? So if you lost selection, outside they go. Supreme Court. Not a court no more. Supreme Court. But if you grab, you say, you know they go there. Let them go. So we call the tripartite for look at why you feel say they rogue you. But not to forgo count results back home. Because that tripartite don't get that power. But for what they will not understand yesterday the English way, not to now, the one way they listen to it, because now understand. The English way Dr. Samura been they talk yesterday, now big English been they talk. And that English say, now the king you English. Because the queen don't go. Now the king you English. And that says, simple. If they ask me for summarize that, what Dr. Samura said yesterday is that we accept that we have finished this tripartite. And if we don't finish this tripartite, we get to 80 recommendations. We are going to follow those 80 recommendations, but there are issues where you call divergent issues with the inside, where me, Samura Kamara, will go falaram, small, till we come to it. You know, say, let person go on the street. Oh? Samura not tell nobody yesterday for going on the street or anything like that. He said this thing, yeah, so me go falaram and say, I get justice within himself. How? By not going to court, in go tell way. However, the one way we want for say is that Dr. Samura Kamara say he will prefer dialogue to anything else. So all man do that say, now talk no more now with the power. Go talk to 2028. But this election is done and dusted. President Dr. Julius Maada Bio is president of Sierra Leone, according to the laws. So laid by. Thank you very much.
I can call on the gold standard, no so. For talk, for sabi the talk, I make a spokesman. And then a spokesman for the highest officer of the land, His Excellency the President. We tell you thank you for your grace we, and you go there for answer questions, including other questions related to the presidency. All right, we'll not get beaucoup time. Let's go. Hands up. Let's see. Questions. We'll start with the journalist then first. You're not a lawyer, wait. Let the journalist they ask first. And then conference this. We'll start with the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. We'll take all 6 together quickly. Everybody know the rules. No prelude, no preface. Go straight to the question. Let's do. When I check your mic, please. Yes. Yeah, go on now.
All right. It's Mina Erika Bangua from Hands for Radio. I want to ask, what's now some of the steps that we could be taking for prevent similar breaches of confidentiality or misconduct in the future within the Auditor General's office and other public office them? For the president, for the Bar Association. As now they continue to monitor the tribunal process, what's now some of the criteria or benchmark them where una they use or where una go use for assess the fairness and effectiveness of this particular one, and how the association go able to respond if una see or perceive any irregularities or delays. Thank you.
Excellent questions. Thank you. Number 2, go.
Me now, Francis Bokari Aliou, the report for the Christian Voice Radio Maria. as the spokesman with the try for talk about the election, due to the election why APC think for say they know the gonna court, now because of the thing for say the court will be influenced by the executive. There came in my question to the president of the bar association. So how did the work for make sure for say the bar association will be free from the executive and the legislative functions?
Thank you. Number 3.
Mina John Kelly Mara at the report for Daybreak newspaper. The question they go to Madam Tumagento and Barrister Usman Kanu. Concerning the jurors then, if I may define from Oxford Dictionary what in juror mean, it say, a jurors are charged with the responsibilities of deciding whether on the facts of the case a person is guilty or not guilty of the offense for which he or she has been charged, and the juror work with the judges. Now we don't see the part of the juror. And we don't see cases then where juror play critical role. Like 2020, the issue of Major Paulo Conte, where juror then decide with the case to go quietly. And also we don't see juror play critical role by the issue of LAC and the states. We don't see that issue with critical way like happen at Morinton.
The preface no long now.
We happen at Morinton.
Get to the question, my
We
friend.
happen at Morinton where we see a lady, when a mate officer and wife, stab a man, a kill him, but the man go scot free. Now we don't see where the role now we don't see critical issue they come back on these trees in trial. Why now not dissolve the juror after all the important issues that we don't take up? Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. David Aspen, Solomon Rise Radio. This question goes to the DP. The findings then we wanna find on the tribunal report, how wanna make sure say wanna go to use them for improve the overall integrity of the AG office?
Thank you very much. Number 4. Naya Obinikano. Then Sumania.
Ibrahim Sarasisi, Voice of Salon Radio. And Mr. Kano, and the Auditor General, we Lara Tilopias in lawyer raised concern say, get Unanogi Lara Tilopias the report. Why that happened?
Thank you. Next.
My name is Suleiman Jallo. I write for Expo Times newspaper and magazine. Just a similar question to what my friend asked, but it will be a little bit different. The lawyer representing Lara Tilopias write the Speaker of Parliament, ask him say, lay Parliament no look into the recommendations of the tribunal until they get an opinion from the Supreme Court. Because according to them, days before the recommendation was submitted, I think 4 days before the recommendation was submitted to the president, then as the lawyers representing the accused not get any report or recommendation from the tribunal. Should in case, because Parliament is an independent body, so in case Parliament reject the recommendation from the tribunal, what becomes of Sierra Leone and what will be the next step from the executive? Thank you.
All right, I think that's the last question, Andy. Okay, thank you. Lord, do a quick round of answers, and then we will come back for a second round. Mr. Kano, I think if it follows starts with you. The question then say, one about how more we will work for improved confidentiality across government, not just inside the aging office. And then this other question about why now, on this question of getting rid of the jury system. Just on that question, now parliaments make that decision, the people, the representative, right? But I think Mr. Kano will also add, myself will come back if I need to afterwards. And then I will use the findings for improve the work of the Auditor General in office. And then the question of Madam Tilopias not getting the report. Mr. Kano, I'll like comment on that. And then obviously the question where they ask, where you say Roland rights to Parliament, we know the comments on that, and of course the request to Parliament, and Parliament is a separate arm of government. We serve in a Parliament, we said take the reports to. But on the question of waiting, government will do, I can say now very clearly to you that government, they only follow the due process and follow the law. So throughout this process, whatever the law says, the next stage is what government will continue to do. But I'll come to Mr. Kado quickly on it, and then I'll give you a chance for comments on that question as well. Yeah.
I think we all know, say, the issue of confidentiality with professionals. Every professional is expected for a comply with confidentiality, even we as lawyers, and more so for auditors. If you say how now government will ensure that those standards are complied with, auditors will tell you, accountants will tell you, they have their own standards. Every professional body have their own standards. And then with those standards, obviously, confidentiality is one of them. So it's part of when you join a service, we then say you terms, your TOR or whatever. So these are things that are not new, where once you go join an organization, then go tell you, say, this is not the thing that we for comply with. So maybe it's an issue of sensitization, where professionals need to be sensitized about it, so that at the end of the day, they're not going to fall foul of these standards. But I think confidentiality cut across all professional bodies, whether accountants, auditors, lawyers, doctors. It's not new. So if you ask how government or whatever go improve that, I think it's the organizations and the individuals. It's for them to actually now take up the standards, because these are some people that don't commit themselves to be part of an organization. And if they want to let them gain respect as parts of this organization, certain standards have to be adhered to. Because if you fail to adhere to those standards, then obviously you're not going to get the respect as a professional. So that's the answer to that. Yeah. With the regards to the jurors, why now? First of all, I think we need to commend ourselves as a nation, because the Criminal Procedure Act, now a act maybe, especially for we lawyers, we've done there around with for more than 5 decades. It's one of those colonial heritage where we inherit from we colonial masters them. Obviously, the law don't improve, things don't change, but we've been still hold on to them colonial laws them here, where as times and things they change, we still know the benefit from them change. Now, the issue of the jurors, there has been an argument that every man entitled to be judged by his own peers. But in reality, I think even at the outset, that is a myth. Because I don't think when you actually fall foul of the law, the composition of the jurors will be by your own peers. As a lawyer sitting here, I guess if they actually charge me to court now, the chance of a lawyer going to the part of the juror is highly unlikely. So the question I'll put back to you, are those jurors my peers? The answer is no, they are not my peers. So I think it's a myth coined by colonial masters or whatever for say you're entitled to be judged by your own peers, because that makituman and waiting say for or carpenter are not really your peers as a lawyer. But the strongest argument for the juror service is that you get an advantage for put your fate in the hands of 12 individuals as against one individual who is a judge. But yes, you have a point there. But the danger with that, they fail to understand that most of those legal issues are complex issues, where jurors, the layman, they don't understand. Now, if you go happen for deal with complex issues, where most cases like some of the evidence where prosecution they deal with, they are circumstantial evidence, where we call them, where they are not like direct evidence. The jurors will not understand that. And if the jurors don't understand that, they will not follow. They've already made up their mind. If the juror don't look Mr. Kanu, say this Mr. Kanu look like a criminal. Eventually, they've made up their mind. It doesn't matter waiting the lawyers and say they will reach a decision.
And not get no accountability.
No, the difference where people
walk out, you go.
The people all get the difference with a judge and a jury. The only time you challenge a jury's verdict is when you argue that the judge misdirect them. So if at the end of the day, God forbid, I stab somebody right here where everybody see that, if I can influence the jury, of my lawyer can influence the jury, and they find me guilty, you cannot appeal against that.
And normally, Mr. Kano, I think one thing most people don't understand as well is that they say, well, you put your faith in 12 people here. But for corrupt a case, I just need one of the jury there, no?
Of course, you just
I don't need
one.
all 12
you
of
just
them.
Need one. Yeah.
One of them are more enough for bringing down the entire case.
Of course. But on a more serious note, a lot of the delays in criminal trials, again, are the jurors. Because if you get 12 panel of jurors, if one absent or one in picking sick or cold kitchen and money, they decide not for gap, the trial cannot proceed. And in some areas, it's just difficult to get jurors then. Because people don't want to go sit down there. Busy people and go tell you, say, I get work for do. I know they go sit down at court all day. So until you're able now empanel a juror, that accused person will actually just remain in prison. So the argument for say, okay, the juror service, I think the argument, it's based on emotions. I think when this happens, they think it's government trying to get their own way. But in all honesty, I don't think that is the case. I mean, you have Nigeria, then don't dispense with the jury from 1969, quite a long time ago. Ghana don't amend their own jury from 12 to 7 and then get limited participation. Gambia don't dispense with the jury. Most of these African countries, them, not get anything for do the jurors.
Algeria, Angola,
yes.
Benin, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad, Comoros, Djibouti, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Gabon, Gambia, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya. I can continue. All not get jury system.
So are we to say that country where the minister don't mention justice not the prevail there? The answer is no. But I think it's because we don't persevere for so long that removing the jury is political and it's for political. They have the Treason Act where at the end of the day it's for the defense, the accused, for now choose whether there is a jury or not. So it's not for the state. The act is still there under the Treason Act. So this is more for offenses. And the fact, because of the passing of the Death Penalty Act, we don't dispense with the death penalty. So most of the sentence that we na sentenced to death, we no longer in our law books them. So the need for the jury is actually is of no moment.
So, if I move on, Maugi, Madam President, for comments on protecting the bar from interference. I think somebody talked about interference from either the executive, political parties, or other arms. Your comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. And I think there's one more to that. Somebody may talk, say, waiting will be the benchmark then we will put in place for fairness in this tribunal. And waiting the association would do, go they look out for, and if there are any red flags, waiting the association would do. Now, the fairness, we they use we own Bible, where we lawyer then can refer to when are the law, and in this case the Constitution, waiting for happen. So now I make Abidon Ali a call on all the stakeholders that we involve, the AG's office, Parliament, for make sure say one, let them try for speed them up as possible. We not say let them bypass any law, but let them follow the law and make sure say then can go this removal of the AG in our Parliament and let Parliament self sit down and make sure say then follow the law strictly, waiting is say, and also do one speedily. Now I also talk earlier and I say if we see red flags, will they come back now? Either we can or we get with PRO, we go make a statement, or we they follow the one them, even Parliament, for make sure say, waiting them for do, then do them, waiting the AG do, office for do. Make sure, we there for make sure say they uphold the rule of law. And also, then they ask how the Bar Association could be free from interference from the executive. And I think I hear about legislative as well. The best we can do really, again, we come back again for uphold this rule of law. So we don't see, like today, waiting at the thing where we talk about, where we get the statements from the Office of the Press Secretary with regards this tribunal here, so the report. We say, let them make sure to them follow. We question the deputy AG as to whether it will be subjected to the tribunal. But the DPP give clarification, because when I start, I make it clear, say, I not received the report. The minister asked a question earlier, say, he asked the DPP, waiting will be the allegation them, and waiting the inside this report, waiting be cargo the Auditor General and in deputy in the first place to the tribunal. So these are questions. But again, we know, say, the report, na limited people them, na then get them. Because even when you go to the Constitution, for example, section 137, subsection 5B, it said the tribunal can only give the report to the president. And I know say some person we don't raise an earlier on say why they not get the Auditor General the report. But if we're going strictly by this, it says you give to the president and it will be made available. This is what's in the Constitution. These are not my words. So now then thing and then nine with the fella for make sure say waiting the law say then fella am. But maybe because we get waiting we can call in law say for fairness, maybe the other side wants see waiting there in the report, waiting the one raise. Maybe they go one see and before they go parliament. But really, unless they don't do all the arguments before the tribunal, waiting the Attorney General they do no more now. Now for Senate and Parliament, let them vote on her. Whether for pull or not for pull But DPP they have for guide me on this. One officer would then go begin argue again. As in the lawyer, then they go begin argue again at Parliament. So the tribunal don't deal with all the arguments then they. So if finally the people of Salone out there know waiting really at the steps then. We they make sure say waiting and suppose what I say we are they talk about the Bar Association because the car say where it can so the legal conscience. Now we they make sure say
right.
The Olam.
Thank you, Madam President. There was this point about lack of trust and refusing to go to the yes, it talks saying that because Dr. Kamara say not been believing in the justice system. I think you want comments on that. Just briefly,
yes, thank you very much. Mr. Frank Bokari Aliyu. Any side where anybody tell you say, yes, so me not believe my